Hello YouTube, welcome to Ready for Pushback. In this episode we are going to go over PFPX, Professional Flight Planner X, program to make your flight simulator experience more realistic and more fun. I'll see you right back here in a second. Stay tuned.
2 more minutes. They could be miles off course.
That's impossible. They're on instruments. This is going to be a real sweat.
Hello YouTube, once again, welcome to Ready for Pushback. I am your host, Jeremy Baker. As you can see by my name down here. Hello. Otherwise known as Pilot J in the Flight Sim world. Anyway, welcome here. We are going to discuss the PFPX program for Flight Simulator. You can use this for any flight simulator. I happen to use Flight Simulator X Steam Edition. So let's get started. There's a lot of information here today that we are going to go over. So, one thing, it's got to have a database on this program. So I use the Navigraph database. I subscribe to Navigraph. I like what they do. They give you charts. They give you updates for the PMDG information in the database, plus they will update this program also. If you have a weather program, you can also add that in, so it'll download the weather information to give you proper performance data. If you have TopCat, this program works with TopCat. TopCat, if you do not know, is another add-on program that you can purchase as well as along with PFPX for a nominal fee that will give you performance data that is crucial in planning your flights, especially like on a PMDG 737 NGX, which is the plane of choice that I fly with. So that being said, let's get started with flight planning. Now, you have some options here. If you would like, you can choose a flight plan from FlightAware. FlightAware is an excellent program to go track current and future flights all around the world, from to and fro, as well as your airliners, your flight numbers, whatever you want to see, it's all here. So you can see there's a little aircraft emblem up here. That's one of the first things you're going to have to do before you actually plan a flight, is you're going to have to add your aircraft information. So if we were to go to the Add Aircraft file, this window will come up, and you'll have to put in your tail number, basically, registration, tail number, the same thing. The N number on the back of, an airliner. Aircraft, what kind of aircraft it is. Of course, I like my 737-800s. There it is. You click on that, it gives you the engines, it gives you all the information, puts it all in here for you. Not everything's in here. Cruise, fuel bias, whole fuel bias. There's a lot of it stuff in here. This is mainly set for dispatchers. You want to be a dispatcher, you can learn all this information, and you probably won't have time to fly because you're going to be busy doing all this. So, in any case, just enter the stuff that you know. Obviously you got to enter registration. Anything that you need to enter will be in here, otherwise it will not let you save the information. So I already have an aircraft in here, my PMDG is in here, so we're going to close this out. Okay, very simple. Add a flight. That's what you're going to do, right? So let's just say today we want to go from Philadelphia International Airport to, let's pick a nice airport. Simple. Atlanta. Let's go to Atlanta. Everybody likes Atlanta. So, as you can see, I'm a big fan of Delta. It automatically knows that. So there we are. So let's say it is flight number, and you can go by real flight numbers if you want, but so you have a Delta Airlines, of course. Since my aircraft is in here, it's already a Delta aircraft. So let's say it is flight number Delta Airlines Flight 29065. Automatically puts that in from, you can either find or, like I said, put in your things from KPHL, Philadelphia International, to KATL. It's a domestic flight. And there it is. There's your straight line shot to it. Okay. Obviously, we got to put our aircraft in. Here's my aircraft. Bada boom, bada bing. Alright. Simple as that. Hit save. There's your flight. Alright. It's in red because it's not done yet. Here we go. So you got little green lights here, little yellow lights, little red lights. Obviously, green means good. So here's all your information. Automatically, because you have Active Sky Next or your weather program hooked up to it, it is going to tell you what I cannot speak today, folks. What runway you're going to be taking off of, what runway you're going to be landing. Gives you some taxi out information, taxi in. If you want to change this, you can. If you want more time, less time, whatever, add it in. But it gives you the runway. If you want to choose another runway for takeoff, knock your socks off. Just make sure that your aircraft can do it. Here's your aircraft. Okay. Payload information. Most pilots don't know what their payload is going to be. How many adults, how many children, all this. So, nice little thing up here. Random payload. 60 adults, no children. Thank God I don't have to hear anybody screaming. Gives you your baggage, your cargo. Bada boom, bada zing. Gives you your zero fuel weight. That's great. Fuel. We're going to be using the U.S. domestic policy today because, obviously, we are flying in the United States. But there are different policies here. Federal Aviation Rules of Russian Federation, blah 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 blah. You can go down the list, but we're doing it domestic fuel. However, I like to carry extra time. 30 minutes of extra fuel, 30 minutes of hold time. Okay? If you want to throw extra fuel in there, that's fine. Cost. Don't have to worry about it. If you know what the fuel cost at the airport is, knock your socks off. Route. This is where the fun action happens. Alright. So you can either plug in the route that you, if you saw a flight that you liked, or you can just hit find. There's our route. We're going to fly direct to the OOD waypoint, then direct to OTT, direct to MOL on the J48 to the Flask waypoint, transitioning to the Oz1, is an Aussie one? Aussie 1 star. So, pretty simple. You must have alternates. Everybody has to have an alternate. So, let's see. We got one alternate flight plan, one alternate destination. Okay. Very simple. Find an alternate. Alright. Ooh, look at this. You got the Dobbins. I think that's a military airport. If you really had to, that's where you would go. But you don't have to. We can go to DeKalb Peachtree. We can land on a 6,000-foot runway. No problemo. Put that in. Put in the route. It says direct right now, but we'll just put in a route. So, ATL. It's not really much. It's basically direct. So, anyway. And it would give you the runway for landing at your airport there. So, with all this information done, we can go up to takeoff data. Okay. If you have TopCat, this is where you can use it. If you have TopCat, it will be in here. So, you are going to take off. Alright. Optimum thrust configuration. Air conditioning on, that's very typical for takeoff. Anti-ice, you would put that in if you needed to. We're plus 18 degrees Celsius. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So it takes the information from Active Sky Next, or whatever your weather program is, which you'll set up in the settings up here. Brings it in, puts it into the Philadelphia International Airport area, brings the information. So right now the conditions are dry, knows you're going to do that, runway 9er. Alright, so we have overcast at 2,700, but there's no rain right now. So winds are 080 at 9 knots. So if you need to change any of the stuff, you can. You do takeoff 1, takeoff 2, but I always put optimum in here. Anti-ice is not needed, so we calculate. Bada boom, bada bing. Here we are, taking off. Runway, blah blah blah. So it's going to be a flaps 1 takeoff today. Okay. Flaps 1 takeoff. Full thrust. It says full thrust there. I have a feeling it's going to be derated takeoff though, once we actually get going. Gives you your wind, temperature, blah blah blah. So most important thing here is it's flaps 1. You know it's a flaps 1 takeoff. 12,000 foot runway, gives you that. Gives you your headwind component. And here you go, 4 thrust. I believe these numbers, 162, 163, 165. V1, V2, rotate. That is your rotation. These are your V1, V2, and rotate speeds. Okay. Very, very good. Then you hit apply. Done. You can also put in your landing. Okay. If you want a flaps 40 configuration, you can choose that. You can choose a flaps 30 for this aircraft, or a very abnormal flaps 15. Not exactly sure why you would do that, but let's go flaps 40. Got a max landing weight, manual. Well, let's just say you want to do the auto land. Put the auto land in. Let the plane land itself. Air conditioning will be on, anti-ice. Well, look at the weather conditions. Plus 25, you're not going to need any ice. Okay, but if you did, you can choose your option here. Very important that you put that in. Already knows that you're going to be landing runway 28. Okay, if you do not like that runway, you can pick any of the other ones. It's a 9,000 foot runway. Well, can a 737-800 land on a 9,000 foot runway? Absolutely. Okay, shorter runway. Might not be as busy as runway 27 right, 27 left. So, not so bad. Alright. Hit calculate. There you go. There's our landing weight. We're going to be landing auto. Air conditioning on. Anti-ice off. VREF speed 142. V approach speed 150. Alright. So, not authorized to land on auto 1 for your auto brake system. Obviously, it's a short runway. Auto 2 doesn't leave you much of a margin, does it? It's going to take all 8,618 feet. So you got 382 feet left. Auto 3, a little heavier braking, gives you 2,284 feet. Auto Max, don't suggest it unless you want your passengers to be shoved through the seat in front of them. So we can do an Auto 3 landing on this particular runway for your auto brake system. Alright. And you add that to your flight plan. Okay. So there you go. We're all complete. Everything's done. You compute the flight. There it is. And you update the performance data. There it is. And you release the flight. Boom. There's your flight. Now, you can print your flight plan. Okay. So you can either send it to your printer, or you can send it to a PDF file, which is what I'm going to do right now because I'm not going to get into everything here. You can also put your notice to airmans up and your wind charts for the different flight levels. Now, when we look at this flight, we will see what flight level we will be flying at. Save. So let's call it KPHL 2KA ATL. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay. That's just looking back at the flight again. That's fine. Let's bring up the actual flight plan. So there it is. We just had it. Here we are. This is what you get in the end. So you can print this out. This is the whole thing. A lot of your important information is right here. So you have your fuel, your zero fuel weight, the most important thing, 122,756. Okay. Obviously it gives you your limits. Bada boom, bada bing. So let's see what else we have here in our flight plan. Again, there's our zero fuel weight. Here is our route, GPS coordinates, direct to OOD, direct to OT1, gives you more GPS coordinates, direct to MOL on the Jet 48 airway to Flask to the Aussie 1 star. Okay. Departure. There we go. Flaps 1, D-rated takeoff of 2. That's very important, assuming that is a 39 degrees Celsius runway or temperature. So it's 18 degrees Celsius, D-rated takeoff. Up to that, here are all your waypoints. Philadelphia International, blah 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 blah. If you look down, okay, you can see flight level 3800 or 380. So we are flying at 38,000 feet today's flight. Okay, it gives you the fuel. You should be printing these out, starting your clock, and making sure that everything's checking out. How much fuel, how much time it takes you to get to each waypoint, and how much fuel you're going to be using. So your fuel and your position. So should take that much fuel, that much fuel, that much fuel, and how much fuel you have left. And this is what real pilots do for every single leg. Alright, that is pretty much your flight plan. And what you can do is take this information and put it into your FMC. Now, you could also export this to the flight simulator, to your PMDD NGX. Right there it is. So anything that you want to export to, you can do that. Then you can just bring it up as a company route into your FMC, and it will automatically be there for you. Alright. It's a lot of information, and once you do it once or twice, it's not so bad. Okay. Pretty much that is it. You can also do a takeoff alternate. There's a lot of different things in here. You can redispatch. Best thing to do is bring up the help in here. Look at YouTube videos. If you have any questions, any comments, be sure to ask me down in the comment section. And other than that, good luck with your flight planning. It's a great program to use. Use this buy this in conjunction with Topcat, and you can plan your routes accordingly. Actually, one more thing I want to show you before we do this, before we're out of here, that would make a lot of sense is, let's bring up the flight plan again. Let's go to the route. It's not part of the PFPX exactly the thing, but let's bring up the route again. Here's our route. Okay? So, let's say you don't know what the heck the OZZ, the Aussie 1 thing is. Alright. That's fine and dandy. Let's close these out. Blah blah blah. Let's go over to Navigraph. I really highly suggest, if you want to get serious about flights, I mean that you... Hi kitty. My cat's in my room. That you get Navigraph. A subscription to it. It's not the cheapest thing in the world, but I'm telling you, it's well worth it. So... KATL. Here we are. Here is the Class B airspace, the stars, the approaches, taxis, and SIDS. So, we are gonna go, let's just say we are gonna bring the Aussie, what was it, the Aussie 1. So we have an Aussie 1 NARAV arrival. Runways 26, 27, and 28. That is what we are using. Okay, bring this up, and you can focus in on it. So here is the chart for Aussie 1 into Atlanta for runway 28. Pretty easy. Runway 28. From area on track 183 to Cala, then track 183 to Posse, then track 180 to Bluff, then on track 180 expect radar vectors to final approach course. Okay, so that is basically your instructions, and reading charts is a whole nother ball game we will get into. So when you come into Aussie, landing east, expect to cross at 14,000 feet. Landing west, expect to cross at 250 knots at 12,000 feet. Obviously these lines are on top of here. That means you need to be at that altitude when you are coming into Aussie. So if you're flying, so landing west, expect to be cross at 250 knots. So you need to be at 250 knots at 12,000 feet when you hit this. It's a Siamese cat, everybody. When you hit this waypoint, then you fly 227 down to Harry, down to Cali. You need to be at 9,000 feet. When there's no line above it, you need to be at or above 8,000 feet here. But by the time you get to Bluff, you need to be at 8,000 feet. This is very strict star coming in here, so you got to watch your altitudes very carefully as you come in. So, which if you enter this into the FMC, your FMC will tell you where you need to be at, and will, if you're flying the approach on the autopilot system, it will put you at these altitudes. However, you do have to add them into your MCP correctly. So, anyway, just thought I'd bring that up. We will get into charts later. So, en route transitions. So, these are important too, because here's your Aussie, and here's your transition. So you have to figure out which waypoint was on our thing. Now, let's go back to that. Flask. So there's Flask. So where you're going to be using the Flask transition. Obviously, you wouldn't be using the Levy transition. So here's your Flask transition. Like I said, landing east, expect to cross at 14,000. And west, you need to be at 250 knots at 12,000 feet when you hit Aussie. So, but here is your transition in. So that's exactly what you would be flying for your RNAV arrival. Don't know if 2.8 has an iOS approach. I don't think it does. I think it's an RNAV approach only. So, anyway. Just some interesting stuff to read and learn. We'll get over charts. I'll do some more extensive videos on charts to help you guys out if you're not familiar with them. So, they're pretty easy though. So, anyway, once again, I'm Jeremy Baker. Thank you for watching Ready for Pushback videos, and I will see you on the next video.